Hello YouTube, my name is Evan Stellmach. I'm a cinematographer and director, and today I'm gonna be talking about why I think the R5C is the best B camera for any working professional. And before you say, Evan, how can I trust you with a wrinkled background? True, okay, I gotta give you there. But you know, I thought it wasn't wrinkled, I haven't used it in a while. I'm gonna get a new one for the next video, so don't worry. So before we get into the R5C, which, so stoked to have this camera in my hand. I wonder what serial code. Ooh, 744, baby. But before we get into talking about this, since this is my first video, I wanted to kind of, give a little intro about myself and what this channel is, because this is gonna be the first time you're seeing it. So I wanna gear this channel towards the working professional. So, what does a professional think about this camera? Why I think the Red Komodo, which I'm shooting on right now, is the best cinema camera to get at the price point, and really for any starting person that wants to get into the cinema world. I don't really want to waste my time with f-stops and shutter speed and all that stuff. And there might be some videos if I feel like it to talk about it, but I'm going to assume that you have a basic understanding. And if you don't, there's still value here, because I want to do stuff about how to make a music video with no budget, and a video breakdown where I break down why I did this, why I chose to do that, and that kind of stuff. So if music video, narrative, or commercial breakdowns, along with tech reviews and just kind of my perspective in film sounds interesting to you, as well as documentary, consider subscribing, and let's get into the video because I don't want to bore you. R5. I almost bought, let me just little tangent. This is the journey to get this camera. I had a 5D Mark IV as my main photography camera. Never used it for video, so I sold it, thinking I was gonna get the Sony camera, and then before I got the Komodo, I actually was gonna get the FX3. Again, great camera, glad I went with the Komodo. I'll tell you in another video, stay tuned. So then I was waiting forever, and then I was like, oh cool, the R3 got announced, it's gonna come out in the fall. Chip shortage, pushed it back to the winter. Then, I was doing some research, I heard about this, and then people were like saying, oh, it's gonna be $8,000. I'm like, oh, dude, I don't want $8,000. But I heard about the fan, and I wanted a photo camera, but I wanted a cinematography-centric photo camera. The R3 is way too photo-centric. I don't need 30 frames per second. I was really bummed about that. But then this came out, this beautiful camera came out, and I was like, mwah, glorious. Dude, I've been waiting for this camera for so long. Now you might be wondering, Evan, you got a Red Komodo, that's a badass camera. What are you doing fangirling over an R5C? Well, I'll tell you, as I said in the title, and why you clicked on this video, I truly believe, at least for my setup, and I think for really anyone though, that the R5C is the best B camera for any working cinematographer out there. And I'm gonna go through why I think so, and enjoy the show. So to start off, record limit. Let's just get into it, baby. Record limit, perfect example. Let's just talk about YouTube. I'm probably gonna be rambling for 45, 50 minutes. That's just what people do behind the curtain of YouTube. Having no record limit is such a beneficial thing that just so frustratingly overlooked in so many cameras. This is my GH4, badass camera, let me tell you. It is a 8-year-old camera. It came out in 2014, which means this camera kind of sucks now, but it still gets the job done. And you know why it gets the job done? Because it has no record limit. A camera back in the day, 2014, had no record limit. Interviews, YouTube related content, things when I'm just shooting maybe like a cooking video or some kind of talking head piece. The frustration that has been experienced through having to stop the flow because it's gonna just shut off mid through an interview. I was working on a job out in the valley, deep valley in Los Angeles. Happened to be using 5D Mark IVs. I know that camera. I owned a Mark IV. I actually rented it on that job. But from the beginning, I was like, hey guys, it has a record limit. If we're doing some long form conversations, that's gonna be an issue. Maybe we should get like the C100 if you don't wanna like spend that much money. They're like, no, the 5D Mark IV is great. We were interviewing about 2 hours total of interviews. And every time it hit that 25-minute mark, we had to turn off the camera really quick, start up another thing. And even though it's just a few seconds, it's awkward. It kills the flow. You have to interrupt the interviewer. If there's some kind of, it's not what you want to do when you're a working professional. Those are the little things that just be like, for that specific shoot, The production had the camera, so it's not like it was on me. But if I came to a shoot with a 5D Mark IV, that would be on me, and that might sit in their head as an issue. So having no record limit, it's just so good. And I know this isn't a new thing, but for Canon, unless you're getting the 1DX Mark whatever, 3 now or whatever, and I think the R3 they just released, which I was almost gonna buy until I wait for this bad boy, which I'm so happy for. The record limit, it's just so nice. It's just so nice. I hate cameras with no record limits. Just do it, dude. We're 2022, dude. Come on, record limits. So that's the first huge thing. For any documentary worker out there, yeah, you probably never looked at a DSLR because you're like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna use that. You got cinema cameras, you got FX3s or FX9s or FX6s or not the FX3, that's new, but you know, I mean, it has no record limit, but, or like, you know, the C200, the C300, the C500. Bare minimum you'd have to get is a C70, which is a $6,000 camera. So now you can rock these, you can get 2 of these, or have one as a B camera while you have like your red Komodo, like what I'm using it for, and boom. Perfect setup, you don't have to worry about record limit. So that's the first one. 8K camera, great. Documentary, I do a lot of documentaries. 8K camera, being able to punch in if you want to, being able to, now there is a caveat, it needs to be connected, can't use the batteries, or I mean you can use the batteries, but it dies instantly. You wanna not use a battery. You're gonna wanna have some power, you know, but you know, get the Anker 26,800, I think, milliamps, PD plus, so power dedicated. So you can like charge it and then you can just use it as a power bank. You can also use it to charge your phone. Sick. So now you can have unlimited power. So now you have unlimited record time. You got a fat card, you got unlimited battery. Dude, you're a documentary machine. It's a better image. It's beautiful, it's amazing. I'm not gonna be using 8K a lot just because the files are gonna be big and it's gonna be a headache to send to any clients and rendering and exporting. Probably not gonna use it that much, I'm gonna be honest, but the ability, if I needed to use it, sick. I'm gonna throw up the specs right now. Wow, those are 6 specs. Go to B&H or something if you wanna learn about the specs, or go watch a CVP. Watch that, they do great. The British dudes over there, awesome, awesome channel. I'm here to talk about feeling, personal use, that kind of stuff, real talk. You know, you can shoot a camera at a chart all the time to see how sharp a lens is, but unless you're putting some good images in front of it, it doesn't really matter. Another awesome thing that the Komodo sucks at is slow motion. Uncropped 4K 120. That's great. I was working a commercial, I had to use the 120 on there, really cropped in, I had to back up and go as wide as I can. It worked. This baby, I don't have to worry about the crop. I get 120, 4K, great, that's sick. And, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you can use autofocus as well, which you guys, don't crucify me. But autofocus sometimes is nice. That's a later point, we'll get to it. And again, my main camera is the Komodo. This is just the B camera to fill in the gaps that the Komodo fails, or an amazing accomplice to the Komodo. Interviews, and I will use this as an A cam sometimes. If I'm just working on a little shoot, or maybe I don't wanna bring all my V mounts and all that stuff, you throw this in a camera bag, boom, bang, pow, you're good. That's why this is like a super versatile camera. I'm very excited about this camera, if you can't tell. I love the fact that Canon, whatever guy at Canon Corp out there in Japan who thought of, hey, we should have a dedicated video and photo button, because you know, it is a C camera. Genius, oh my God. As someone who's worked with 200, 300, 500 cameras, trying to work cinematography with photo settings is so annoying. Having video-centric that you're already comfortable with the C line, if you've ever worked with any Canon C camera, which if you went to film school, I guarantee your film professor had a few C100s laying around. I'd much rather use a C500 Mark II or a C300 Mark III over the Sony camera. I just don't like Sony. The Sony Venice is a completely different question. Obviously Canon, they really want to be in the market. They need to do a badass cinema camera. Sony Venice is definitely a kick-ass and like can rival like Red and Alexa, more importantly. But I just like the menu system and how the C line works. So the fact that now I have that in a handhold version, awesome. That is such a nice feature that now that you can really simplify having the photo and the video side, I don't care if it has to shut down and reboot. Boo-hoo. When you're working professionally as a cinematographer and you need split second to switch over to photos. Like people who are online who are complaining about, dude, it takes 10 seconds to reboot. Shut up. You're just complaining just for the sake of complaining. Also, time code, that's nice. I have a few technical syncs, boom, bang, pow, don't have to worry about going through the mic. Just put it right into the dedicated time sync. These are the things that are nice. Time code in. That's what steps it just like a little bit above. I don't know if the FX3 has time code in, it might, I don't know. Cause this is kind of like what it's going against, but this is better in my opinion, just saying. And just in general, like the button layout on this situation, yeah, 13, you have the time code in. You know, people are complaining about the HDMI port, which, you know, to be fair, I wish it was a little bigger. You have space. You have space right there. It could have been a mini. I don't like that's a macro, but look, they gave you this. It's kind of cheap, but, and now it locks in your stuff. Sick. So, I mean, whatever, dude. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, it's annoying, but you know, hey, at least they gave you this. That's kind of cool. Especially Canon. Canon is the worst about like, you know, they're the kings of, you know, that's the one thing I'll give to Sony. They're much better about like, you know, spreading the love. Canon's like the kings of being like, oh, dude, we can't cannibalize our own line, so let's make the C200 shoot RAW or 420. It's fucking stupid. That I would. So the fan as well. Let's just talk about that for a second. Again, I was talking about like, you know, being in Deep Valley. If you live anywhere in LA where a lot of filmmakers live or anywhere that's hot or you're working on a documentary, I'm gonna be gearing up for a documentary out in El Salvador in a few years, early production. But, you know, I'll most likely have this camera still. And the fact that I don't have to worry about it overheating, great. That is a sick plus. So just things like that. Nice. I love the fan. Oh, it looks a little chunky, blah, blah, blah. You know what? It adds a little weight. It's super light, but I like the chunk. I'm someone who likes chunky because, I don't know, there's more space. It's cool. It's cool points. Ding-a-ding-a-ding. Sickness. Flippy screen, awesome. If I'm doing a show, oh, I need to see, you know, my camera's up here on a tripod and I need to be dropping something in a tank. Perfect example, like what I was talking about earlier when I said I could use the 120 4K uncropped. Same kind of situation. Oh, I need to see kind of like where my framing is and I don't want to have to set up a monitor. Oh, just really quick little, okay, cool. So that's super nice. Shooting YouTube videos. This is gonna be my main video camera for shooting YouTube videos. You can see my face. I mean, obviously I'll have a monitor, but just to have it, dope. What else? Oh, the tally light. Sick to have the tally light right there. Oh, I'm recording. Now I know. Oh, also the multi-functional shoe. Awesome. Like, look at it. You got that Tascam multi thing with the 2 XLR input. I'll put up a picture right now. Put that on here. Now you got 2 XLR ports. You got time code. You got awesome autofocus. You can just put the little pouch in your pocket for the power with using like an Anker battery pack. You literally have an amazing, you have like a C500 Mark II in your pocket, just handy. Dude, that's so awesome. The possibilities with this camera for like filmmakers doing documentary work is just so great. It's awesome. I'm definitely gonna pick that up when it comes out, the Tascam XLR port. That's so nifty, nifty 50. Card slots. Wish they were both B express slots, but then also I was thinking about it a little more, and the fact that one is just like, you know, SD card and the other one's B slot. For those who don't know, Type B, it's a faster data rate, so you have to have a Type B if you want to shoot 8K and any of the RAW capabilities. I believe you have to have this card, and even I think that's all. I think it's the RAW and 8K. You need to have a CFast Express card, Type B, not Type A, Type B. But it's nice having a Type, just like a regular SD card slot, because it's like, for when I'm just shooting like YouTube videos, or, you know, I don't like really need to like have I don't need a big buffer when I'm taking photos. An SD card is fine. So honestly, I kind of like that they didn't have two the same, because these are way more expensive than SD cards. I can get a huge SD card for a quarter of what those Type B cards are. So a negative turned to positive. Honestly, see, that's the whole thing. This is a negative, or this is the negative, the micro, turn to positive, whatever. It's not the worst. Stop crying. People, yeah, it's gonna slip out. Dude, the GH4, I used it forever. Has a macro. Micro? Is it micro HDMI? It's micro HDMI. I think I said macro earlier. I never really had any issues. Sure, it's annoying. Do I rather have SDI? Yes. Or maybe like a new port, because SDI has its own problems. The fan situation, super nice, because like when I was talking, I was out in, Valley doing some, and I was talking about El Salvador. Dude, I completely missed it. I'm sorry. I'm just so excited. I hope this isn't too much. We'll see how the edit comes out. But, I'm getting out my first YouTube jitters. Not having to worry about your camera overheating is super nice. When I was, I did talk about that. Nah. If I didn't, quick. Being able to not have to worry about like turning on and off your camera to let it cool. That's a super nice thing that cinema cameras have. They all have fans. You don't have to worry about them overheating. You can shoot in Saudi Arabia, you're fine. Obviously, there's caveats. If it's like 200 degrees out, you're gonna kill yourself, but your camera's also probably gonna die. But this fan right here, the dedicated fan, puts it on the same level. Obviously, maybe not 100%, but like it's up there. I don't have to worry. Click and go. I don't have to worry about it overheating like I would if I was using any other DSLR on the market. Every other DSLR, I would have to worry if I was out in a very hot condition and I was doing hours of record time or a long interview. In the back of my mind, I'd be like, oh, did it die? I would get up or, like call over a PA to check on, to tell like the first AC or, to check on it. Depending on how big the shoot is, obviously. But this, I feel so much more comfortable about having the dedicated fan. So form factor, that's another thing. I talked about it a little bit, but just to go more into detail. I'm working on a documentary this summer about bikers. If you have an Alexa or even the Komodo. Now I did get the Komodo for the particular reason I'm about to talk about right now, but this is light. I can rig it up to make it a little heavier, or I can usually use it on gimbal work. I'm probably never gonna have it on a shoulder rig because I'll have that, but whatever. But the fact that it's so light, I can easily mount it onto a bike or a car mount, or there's so many more possibilities where I don't have to worry necessarily about sizing. It's hard to fit a fully rigged out Alexa or even the Komodo at sometimes. Having something that's light, pretty 100% a package, like I don't have to have V-mount batteries in here. Like the battery's in here right now. The cars aren't in here, but like this is super light. This is like 2 pounds. That's crazy light. So that's just having the form factor, because again, this is a B camera, the best B camera. Now, if you're just starting, 100% I recommend getting this. If you're starting out there and you don't have the money to get a Komodo, or if you want to go the Sony route, the FX3, or sorry, the FX6 or the FX3. But I think if you're around that money situation, dude, $4,000, $5,000, because you're gonna have to pay money for cards and stuff and readers. I think this is the best camera. And if you're doing photo work as well, dude, chink. Oh, now I'm in photos. Sick. So form factor, nice. Definitely something to think about. It has C-Log 3, not 2, unfortunately, but again, Canon, of course, shooting themselves in the foot. Oh, dude, if we make it too good to have C2, then dude, no one's gonna buy the C500 or the C300. I mean, obviously, some people would buy it, but whatever. And also maybe the cost would go up because of proprietary data. I'm sure this camera could handle it. I don't know why, besides self-cannibalization is the only reason why it's not on here, but C-Log 3 is good. It's nice. If you want to see some footage, again, CVP put up a good video when they got this handheld back in I don't know, when they announced it. Shooting some cool ducks at sunset. That footage looks so good. I don't know what lens they were using. I think it was an Otis. Good lens. C3 is good. Easily can work it if you're working in a cinema line, if you're doing documentaries and you guys get C100s, whatever camera you get, this can easily fit in as a B camera or a C camera. Again, I was working on a show this last summer. We had FX9s, but what we did use as a D camera, the FX3. Now this can be that D camera or C camera, and you're talking about rigging. We had the shot when we're looking over a Ouija board. I just rigged up the FX3, shooting down, boom. So that's what's nice about this. It has the capability of being in a cinema talk conversation. You can easily use this in movies. I guarantee this camera is gonna be used in some movies. I don't know what type of movies, what budget, but like they're gonna be used in some capacity. So form factor, C-Log 3, sick. If you're listening at all, I shoot, my main A camera is the red Komodo. This has an RF mount. That has an RF mount. Again, one of the reasons why I didn't get, the biggest reason why I didn't get the FX6, because I literally had it in my cart. I bought stuff for it before I bought the camera. That's how confident I was about getting it. I got a sidearm and everything. The reason why I sold it or got rid of it is because like I still need a photo camera because, you know, I need to take photos here and there when the clients need it, or in my own personal use when I'm going on vacation or like just on a trip, I want to take some photos. But then I was like, well, all that is a AS7 or the whatever, you know what I'm talking about. They just took that sensor and put it in the cinema body. Cool, but then if I were to buy a photo camera, I'd be buying that camera, and then I basically have two of the same cameras, which is nice for like matching and stuff, but like I'd want something that has a little different characteristics, different purposes, different uses. So then I went with the Komodo, knowing I was gonna buy a Canon camera. I like using cinema glass, like the next film gentleman, but photo lenses are good, especially when you're going solo and you don't want to have a 367, 270 focus throw. And you just want to be like, beep, beep, beep. When you're just doing easy stuff, photo lenses are great. So being able to cross-pollinate my lenses on this camera and that camera, super nice. So that's just like a little caveat because I already have that. Also adapters for that camera, EF glass, the adapters. Autofocus. Oh, dude, Evan, you're not a real cinematographer. Dude, you said this is a place for professional cinematographers and you're talking about autofocus? Are you serious, Evan? What, you probably shoot in that one mode that everything's done for you when you shoot photos too. Okay, listen, before you crucify me, God, I just saw myself in the, dude, I'm so sorry about this. Next time you see me, this will not be a thing. I promise. As me, Evan Stellmach. Hi, hope you're enjoying the video so far. There's your intermission. Autofocus. Obviously, I'm not gonna use it all the time, but when you want to use it, having a camera that can use it well is so important. This camera has asshole autofocus. The worst autofocus in the history of cameras, quite possibly. If you're too young or you never looked into the GH4, just do your search GH4 autofocus. The worst. And there's been so many times, not always, obviously, but so many times where I wanted to use autofocus. Shooting a YouTube video. Right now, I'm sitting at like a 7.1 or a 5.6, so if I move, I should still be in focus. But you know, if I wanted to hold up the camera, yeah, it's out of focus and it's not on, you're not gonna, it's not gonna magically come. But if I'm using this camera, boom, now it's gonna be in focus. We'll test that on the Komodo review video that's coming out next. But just in general, shooting product videos, especially commercial stuff, when you were doing some slow motion and you wanna get a quick zoom moving in, when you're doing those like micro movements and you don't have to worry about, and you don't have a first AC pulling focus for you, obviously it's always best to have a first AC for the most part, but not every commercial you're gonna have that. So if it's especially a lower budget or like you're a one band indie shooting, whatever, there's times where you wanna just at least try it. You're not being, we're all human here. People who pretend like they've never messed up a shoot, cut those people out of your life. Everyone makes mistakes. So maybe you're not getting that shot. Maybe you can't land that focus. Having autofocus would be pretty nice. Did a commercial shoot 2 weeks ago. We had this dolly shot. Maybe I can put it on. I'm not sure, legally, I might not be able to show it, but dolly shot moving in, going up to a person as he's taking a can from someone, lifting up, cracking it, going for the drink, right? And it's just one fluid motion. And I didn't have a first on this shoot. So when I'm moving in, it would have been nice to maybe have autofocus just to see if it worked. We got the shot working. Actually, we tried the Komodo autofocus and there was a few takes that looked pretty good. So maybe I'll even use the autofocus off the Komodo. It's decent, but it has its problems. But if I just to try it, it would be nice. So having autofocus when you need it is super nice. And this camera has some of the best autofocus in the game. So stop complaining. Dude, I'm manual only, dude. Cinema glass for me only, dude. You're not real professional if you don't use cinema glass. Dude, that's what I have to say to you, bro. And when you're working documentaries, dude, no one's running around. I mean, okay, yes, you do sometimes, like, you know, the Fujinons, like what? The Canon, that lens, you know, obviously, you know, that's a super big lens. And I'm not saying you don't use it all the time, but like a lot of times if I'm running a documentary, I prefer to have a photo lens, to have autofocus. Now I can have that autofocus. When we're moving around, I'm working on the surfer doc right now. Dude, we're moving, we're talking, he's turning. I can't focus on focusing and also asking him questions. So like autofocus, king, beautiful. Fugazi. People complain about IBIS. Dude, they took away the IBIS from the R5. Why would they do that? Dude, why not just have it turn on and turn off? Fair point. It would be nice if there was a mode that it turned on and off, or like you like automatically, or you turned it on and off. Cause you know, sometimes it'd be nice, you know, walking shots, documentary stuff, to have some stabilization. But at the end of the day, as any working cinematographer that knows who's watching this, no cinema camera has IBIS stabilization internally at all. You gotta get used to that. You gotta get used to shooting yourself. Also, sometimes, dude, the IBIS and stuff, it warps your image. It's weird. I rather do it post a little bit or have a stabilization. Because at the end of the day, if you're working with big clients or bigger clients and bigger cameras, you're gonna have some kind of stabilization. Also, a lot of lenses, especially if you're using photo lenses, not cinema glasses, they have internal stabilization. So you get a little like stabilization. So in the final big thing, so big that you might be wondering, Evan, why have you not even talked about it yet? The photo mode of this cinema camera. There's so many good things to talk about it from a cinema standpoint. Also, Canon, this is just like a complete like feel situation and opinion. I mean, all this is opinion, but the right opinion, am I right? Canon's like fake leather wrap, or maybe it's real leather, but probably not. It's the best in the game, dude. It just feels, some ASMR for you guys. It just feels so nice. I love the grip. It has nice grip. It just feels good in the hands. Super good feeling. But the photo side of this camera, that was just a little side note. 45 megapixel, 8K images, up to 12 electric, or 12 mechanical, 20 electric frames per second. I mean, this camera is a photo beast, dude. And the camera, I truly feel cameras are starting, not really, but like, you know, they're getting to a point where they're all so good that you can really do amazing stuff with everything. Like like I could still make beautiful pictures with the 5D Mark IV. I had some of my favorite images I ever took off the 5D Mark IV. This is way better than that. And like, it's in a sick ass cinema camera. It's a handheld cinema camera. Like that's like, it's so nice that they have good photos versus 7S3 with the 12 megapixel or 14 megapixel camera, which again, megapixels, excuse me, aren't everything. But like having 45, I can shoot some awesome landscape. I can crop in if I wanted to. Any kind of nature, sports, you can shoot anything with this camera. And it has amazing quality. I mean, just beautiful. And then the autofocus on top of this, dude, like glue. This sticks. If you've ever used the R5, it's this just in a cinema body, right? That's why I'm not really spending much time on it, but just want to touch, like, this is an amazing photo camera. And so when you're working on jobs where maybe a client needs to take some photos, and again, why this is a great B camera. You're shooting your music videos, boom, you use the cinema camera. You maybe need to shoot a music video and he wants some headshots, or she wants some headshots, or wants some cool shots for the album art. Boom, now you can bust out your camera. Oh, hey, you know, we have this weird kind of angle that we wanna use, or we wanna shoot some slow motion. Oh, I could shoot it with the red. Oh, but you know, this doesn't do it crop. Or I can stick it in there. Or, you know, we can fly it on a smaller camera, so now we can have our smaller stabilizer, so we can have the camera package be shorter. Like this just comes in so many applications. And that's why I just truly feel like it's just the best B camera for any working professional. And really A camera for anyone. You will be so satisfied with this camera, and you might be like, Evan, you haven't even turned it on. True, I haven't, so, you know, whatever. But I've watched videos like this. No, I'm joking. But I mean, it's not like I'm gonna turn it on and it's not gonna perform how it performs. Yeah, it might have some issues. And then we'll make a video revisiting it. Don't you worry. It's an R5 with a fan. The R5 isn't amazing. I've worked with the R5 multiple times and I've always liked it. I almost bought it, but the overheating issue was like the biggest issue. This camera does it with so much other stuff. So that's kind of where I'm leaving it. It's just a great camera. And all, jokes aside, like kind of crapping on Sony, get the camera that you can afford. I saved up for this. I sold my other camera. I've been waiting for this camera for a while. It's expensive. $4,499. Little quick hack, get the B&H card, the Paybu card. Dude, it's 100% worth it. I saved I wanna say $400 on this. That's what I will leave you with. If you all enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate a like, a share, talk about it. Get my name out there. I hope you enjoyed. My name is Evan, and I will be seeing you in the next video, which will be, just a little teaser, little sprinkle for you. Is I'm gonna be talking about why the Komodo, I think, is the best first camera when you get into the cinema world that you should invest in if you're going down that route. And if you're wondering why, Evan, how could you say such an outlandish thing? Subscribe and stick around until you see why I think so. All right, peace.